One of the frustrations I hear most about GA4 is people not knowing where to find what they're looking for and how to get at the data they need. I've recorded another video that goes into the GA4 interface and how things are organized and some of the features that can help you find what you're looking for. And I'll pop a link to that up on the screen. In this video, we're going to go into specific features of reports in GA4. So we're going to go into, in particular, the traffic acquisition report and also the landing pages report. And along the way, we're going to investigate a question that's pretty common for marketers, which is, I want to break down organic traffic, generally a source of traffic, and understand where people are coming from geographically, where they're landing, to get a better feeling for what this traffic represents. Before I do that, I do want to show you one thing. I'm in my organization's account, and I'm going to click over to reports and then acquisition. As I mentioned, we're going to be looking at the traffic acquisition report. I just want to clarify what the difference is between user acquisition and traffic acquisition. User acquisition shows you the source that somebody came from the first time they visited your site, whereas traffic acquisition shows the source somebody came from for a given session. This is more analogous to what you're used to in Universal Analytics, if you've used Universal Analytics. And a lot of times as a marketer, it's what I would go to first. Understanding how users first got to my website is really powerful and useful too. But if I'm looking at this week's traffic, I kind of want to know what are the sources that drove traffic this week. Let's have a look. All right, let's begin our investigation. The first thing I'm going to do is change this dimension here. Right now it has session default channel group, and you'll notice each detail report has this arrow here. It's a drop down, and you can change the dimensions on each report. And I think in all cases, those dimensions kind of make sense for the type of report it is. So in this case, these are all different ways of talking about where traffic is coming from. And the one that I want is session source medium. So I'm going to change that. The other thing is that the metric that we're interested in right now is sessions. You'll notice this is sorted by users descending. If you click on this, you may not have caught it, but this graph up here will actually change back and forth. So it's on users right now, and then I'm going to change it to sessions. There's not really a big difference in this case, but sometimes you'll notice that these do change quite a bit. And if there's a metric you care about, like say revenue, all you have to do is click on that metric here and sort by it, and then it'll change the graphs at the top. The conversion I care about is contact us submissions. If you come over to this conversions column, this drop down, all events, I can change this and just look at contact us submissions. So now, certainly a lot fewer contact us submissions than some of my other conversions. But in any case, so that's showing me by source and medium, how am I getting contact us submissions on my website? I'm not going to go deep into conversions right now, but I will show you one thing, which is that these are just events that have been flagged as conversions. And so if you're not seeing what you want here, hopefully it does exist as an event. If it doesn't exist as an event, you're going to have to create an event to track what you want to track as a conversion. But all you have to do to flag an event as conversions is go to admin, go to events, and over here you'll see you can mark anything you want as a conversion. So that's kind of handy. Much easier than in Universal Analytics setting up conversions. Do note that when you flag an event as a conversion, it'll start counting it as a conversion when you flag it. So unfortunately, if we go back to the traffic acquisition report, I can't just change a conversion, something to a conversion and have it show up right away. All right, so let's start digging into our question. So the things that I want to understand are organic traffic, US versus non-US, blog versus non-blog, The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a comparison up here. Comparisons work a lot like segments did in Universal Analytics, if you're familiar with those. And with comparisons, you can effectively create segments to compare one type of traffic to another. So in our case, we want to look at US versus non-US traffic. Here, I'm going to type in country, and I'm going to pick United States. You'll notice it says include here. You'll probably guess where this is going to go. Then I'm going to go and add another comparison, and I'm going to say exclude, and we'll put in country and United States. And then I'm going to apply that. Now I don't really need this all users. I really just want to look at US versus non-US. It's interesting. It's really quite comparable. So now it's going to break down everything down here. Then the next thing I want to do is I'm really interested in organic blog traffic. So how could we go about doing that? For that, we're going to add filters to the report. So the first thing I'm going to do, and specifically I'm interested in, since I'm looking at the source medium report, I'm looking for Google Organic. Type in session source medium is what I want. And then I'm going to say Google Organic. Okay, and you'll see I can add multiple conditions. Now, this is pretty frustrating to me. So what I want to do is look at traffic that goes to blog pages. So I'm going to put in landing page. The dimension I have is landing page in query string. But I can't just do a contains filter or a begins with filter, which is really frustrating. What I would have to do in this case is go down and check off all of the blog landings. I don't know, I'll check the first however many. I'm not going to go all the way down. So I can't do a starts with filter, pretty annoying, and I can't actually save this filter. I can't actually save a filtered report. I can't save the filter itself, but I could save this as a custom report if it's something that I really want to come back to and see over and over again. We'll touch briefly on customization, but it's kind of a complex topic, so I'll probably tackle that in a different video. All right, so for now, I'm just going to pick these. These are the highest traffic blog pages, and I'll go ahead and apply that. Okay, so now we're starting to see, so this is organic blog traffic, and we're actually starting to see there is more traffic coming from outside the US. Interesting. The next thing I'm curious about is where is that traffic coming from? I'll show you one way that I can do that, and then we'll look at it at a different way. So one way is this little plus sign here. This is how I add secondary dimensions. So all reports have a single dimension on the left, but you can add a secondary dimension. So you can report on up to 2 dimensions. So in this case, I could add country as a dimension, and then it's going to break down which countries. Now, you can see decent amount from Australia. I mean, it makes sense. Our blogs are in English, so we're probably going to tend to see more traffic from English-speaking countries. This is getting pretty hard to look at just because there's so much going on. So I'll show you a different way of looking at this, but the last thing I want to show you on reports is how easy they are to customize. Now, to customize, you have to have edit permissions in GA4. So when I customize this, it's going to customize it for everybody. It is really easy to do, and there are a lot of instances where I do actually prefer customizing the reports because I don't really like how Google has set them up, or there might be metrics that are not relevant or not necessarily the ones that I'm most interested in. If you click this little pencil icon, again, you'll have to have edit permissions to even see the pencil. What I can do is, so one thing, sort of peeve of mine, I don't really like the 2 graphs at the top. I prefer just having this line chart. So I'm going to hide this bar chart here. So now I just have a line chart. And then the other thing is, you see over here, total revenue. Well, we don't actually sell anything on our website. So I'm going to get rid of that. And I'm going to apply that. And then if I go to save, I can save changes to the current report. And then from now on, this is what my report's going to look like. Now, again, keeping in mind, this is what it'll look like for everybody. So you don't want to just sort of go willy-nilly changing things whenever you feel like it. Think through what you want the experience to be. I mentioned that this is getting hard to look at. We're going to look at it a different way. This, as I mentioned before, this traffic acquisition report is one of my favorites in terms of understanding marketing performance. Probably the second reports that I go to most are under engagement, pages and screens. So this is going to show what pages are getting visited the most, and landing pages. So this is the pages that people are arriving at. If you've been using GA4, you may have in the past wondered about landing pages. Google only added it as a dimension fairly recently in GA4, and this report didn't show up until it was added as a dimension, which kind of makes sense. So I'm going to get rid of my comparisons. It's going to go back to just all users. Now I'm looking at landing pages here. I can do the same thing, and I can say landing page. Again, frustratingly, I can't do contains filters. You can add contains filters in explorations. We're not going to go into explorations right now, but if that becomes too frustrating to you, you may find that you use explorations more than regular reporting. All right, so I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm not gonna hit them all. I'm just gonna hit some of the top blog posts just so that you don't have to watch me click endlessly. I'm gonna apply that. Okay, so now I've got my blog post, and then I can do the same thing. I can just add country as a secondary dimension, which is kind of a nice way to look at things. So now I can see United States, India, United Kingdom. And if I wanted, I could filter out and just look at non-US traffic. I guess we might as well do that. So we'll say country, and again, you want to change that to exclude. Apply. So I hope I've helped you understand a little better how to get the data you're looking for in GA4. This particular report is interesting to me, looking at the breakdown of traffic. I knew that we were getting people from outside the US. So the picture is a little better than I thought it was. We do have customers in the UK and Canada. Many of these countries know there's nothing you can really do when you create blog posts. Of course, people are going to come from everywhere. So I wouldn't say this is a bad thing, but it just sort of helps me understand the value of the organic traffic that I'm getting. If you need any help with GA4, we do both set up GA4 accounts. We do training in GA4. We also set up Looker Studio dashboards and Google Tag Manager. Love to help if we can. Go check out 2octobers.com and reach out. And thanks very much for watching.